G'day, folks. Peter here. Welcome back to Mondays Down Under on the Talking Pools podcast, where I've got Lee and Shane. How are you guys?
Very well, thank you, Peter. We missed you last week.
I am so bummed about that, missing out on Splash. I've been looking forward to it for so long. What happened, I was meant to fly out on the Monday night, spend Tuesday or arrive early Tuesday morning, red eye special, get acclimatized, shall we say, on Tuesday, then the trade show on Wednesday, Thursday. But Monday morning, I woke up splitting headache, aching all over, start of a sore throat. I thought this does not bode well. By halfway through the day on Monday, I just felt like crap and came down with a throat infection. And I didn't want to go there and potentially pass on some bug to the entire pool industry in Australia. That's the reason I couldn't make it. But I will sure you two will tell me exactly what I missed out on.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, actually. It was. One thing I would say is do not take your children to a 2-day trade show. That was challenging enough.
They are beautiful. Your kids are gorgeous.
Oh, thank you, Lee. Yeah, they are. They are. But just trying to entertain them and see new products at the same time is quite challenging,
Yeah.
Thank God for the pool work stand. They had little rubber duckies. They kept the kids entertained for a very long time. So thank you, Poolworks, for giving those duckies out. Appreciate that.
So how many times over the 2 days did you tell your kids, don't touch that or put your hands in your pockets?
It was pretty much on record on my phone, just looping, playing over and over.
Hugo.
It was good fun.
Hugo is the sweetest little boy. He just has the most adorable little face. And what did Sammy think of it? Like being her really a big introduction to the industry, really, for her.
Yeah, it is. I mean, she started with the Waves conference,
Yes.
so that's the women in the industry. So I think it was about a week prior to Splash. They had an online meeting and people could get to see each other and just talk about how they can promote their business. So it kind of made her a little bit more comfortable in what she's going into. And then I think it was on the morning of the first trade show. It was
it was
breakfast,
Wednesday.
The Waves breakfast. Yeah, and she said that was amazing. There was 72 women that turned up. I think it was. I think you attended yourself.
Yeah, I think it was actually booked out. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I was only there fleetingly. I was committed to the training side of things as well. So I was sort of back and forth between the rooms. So I didn't get to see the whole thing, but I heard wonderful things about it. And Sammy certainly seemed that she got a lot out of it, which I was really pleased for her.
She did. The whole expo for 2 days, it was exciting. It was quite stressful trying to chase around after kids, but it was still exciting at the same time. It's the first big event that I've attended. I've been in the industry 10 years, nearly 10 years. So it was exciting for me, one, to take a holiday with the family, but two, to actually experience a good expo like that. And it was good. I got to meet yourself, Lee.
Yes.
Sammy was saying it's almost like this long distance internet relationship that the three of us are having. And then finally get to meet each other.
Yeah.
And, it was great.
It's funny. You feel you feel like you know each other, and like, let's face it, we've been doing this weekly for 10 months or something now. I think it was November last year I came on board. So so we're getting sort of to that 10-month mark, and so we really feel like we know each other, but yet we've never met in person. So it's actually quite funny. So but no, it was lovely to meet you and your gorgeous little family. And Hugo just takes a piece of my heart. I think I have a soft spot for kids, but like being a mother of 3 boys myself, I look at him and I can just see my boys in him. And I remember the years that Scott and I dragged them around the trade show. We very quickly found a local hotel that actually had a childcare centre in it. So we booked from in there from then on, and it made life a lot easier for us. Or Scott and I would take it in turns, and we'd go for, he'd do the morning and I'd do the afternoon at the trade show, or vice versa. So, or he'd do one day and I'd do another. But the childcare centre came in very handy. And look, our kids, as they got older, actually didn't mind coming to the trade shows because there's lots of freebies and lots of lollies and slushies and God knows what else they can get into. So yeah, it's good stuff, good fun. Yeah. Did you come home with lots of goodie bags? I always come home with heavier suitcases.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we were in the airport weighing the bags, and it was like, oh my God, we need to change. We need to take kilos out of this one, move them to this one. And Sammy's like, why have we got so much stuff? And I said, well, I've got to look through it. You know, a lot of it is brochures, you know, products I haven't seen before. Mm-hmm. So it's all work related, you know, it's all beneficial. So it was really good.
And of course, you probably ended up with, I don't know, 15 stubby holders, 10 baseball caps, a frisbee, and some random thing that you still don't know what the hell it's meant to do.
Buffer Zone Systems are the pool and spa industry specialists with a complete range of software for pool shops, service companies and commercial aquatic facilities. With more features and integrations than any other pool industry software, you really need to reach out for a one-on-one demonstration. Contact Buffer Zone today.
Yeah, there's always some good things that you can toys, tricks. I think I've come home with energy battery packs, like you can plug your mobile phone into, not this year but in previous years. Like you say, stubby holders and all that sort of thing. So but spas were giving away shirts, and the shirts we went through really quickly. They were the conversation shirts, you know, the mutt, I think there's something mutt shirts, and they're really bright, leery work shirts that are supposed to invoke a conversation about mental health. So it was a good thing. So yeah. And pens galore. You can never have enough pens. Let's face it, somewhere in this world is a room that's full of pens and one sock. That one sock from that pair of socks that you always seem to lose. Yeah, all the pens and all of those single socks are in one room somewhere in this world, and one day we will find it.
But while you're in that room, have a look for my 10mm sockets.
There was a lot of different exhibitors. So there was actually quite a strong Chinese delegation there. Yeah. But not like selling robotic pool cleaners, also selling leaf rake scoops, things that they're manufacturing. Obviously, they have chemical market, that sort of thing. But normally, those guys don't usually sell direct to the likes of us. They usually sell to distributors. So that sort of struck me as a little unusual.
But I will say, on my LinkedIn account, for example, I'm constantly getting contact or connection requests from manufacturers of all sorts of stuff in China. And having said that, I should actually accept one of these requests, because then they're just going to send the sale, you know, would you like to buy a container of heat pumps? Would you like to, buy the other day, glass fencing and balustrating? It's like, dude, quit it.
Yeah. We buy small quantities, really in comparison with what a distributor buys. I'm never going to buy 16 dozen cartons of leaf scoops or backheads. I might buy 6 cartons, for the whole season, or maybe a few more than that. But I'm not going to buy the quantities that I'm going to be able to fill a shipping container with. So maybe if you got together as a buying group, you might do that, but then comes down to quality. And I think Australians are a little skeptical about the quality of some of those Chinese manufactured products.
Yeah, here there's a lot of heat pumps coming in from China.
Mm.
And I've had Chinese manufacturers contact me, oh, you should import these, and the whole sales pitch.
Yep.
If something goes wrong,
Yeah,
where do I get the parts?
it's exactly
Warranty,
right.
very hard. I know from previous businesses in when we used to manufacture pools, we had a side company which sold outdoor furniture. Very, very hard to get parts over from China for even something as simple as that, let alone for something as complex as a heat pump.
Absolutely.
And all the other equipment as well. I mean, you have damaged laterals in a media filter that you buy from there.
Yep.
I'll stick with the brands that are represented here, thanks. Buy proper distributors and manufacturers.
Yeah.
Pentair, for example, I do a lot of their filters. Never a problem getting the replacement laterals, or spider gaskets from MPV.
Yep.
Always.
You've got somebody that you can go back to, that you can call on in need, whether it be an inferior product or a part that you need, or a warranty issue, whatever it might be. You've got that local port of call, and that gives you a lot of security. It's certainly, like, I might have considered buying leaf scoops or backheads, pool brooms, that sort of thing, because they're not an item that you're going to get a warranty call back on. But I want to only associate myself with quality products.
Yep.
So I can't quality control something that they send over a whole shipping container, and then I open them up and they're all faulty, or they're not to the quality that I want. And then what do I do? I can't do anything about it. So, yeah.
One thing I did notice at Splash was the amount of stands that were selling robotic cleaners.
Oh, yes.
It was almost every 1 in 3 or 4 stands, there was a robotic cleaner, and that kind of blew me away quite a lot, because you've got your main distributors, the ones that you can rely on, as you've said, especially for parts, Lee. But yeah, the amount that are on the market now in Australia and New Zealand is phenomenal. I don't know if that's the same globally. And that actually blew me away. Yeah,
10 years ago, there was only like really a couple of players in the market. And now every man and his dog has got a robotic pool cleaner. But that's going to lead to a future episode, so we won't go too much into that today. But it does lead me to say a couple of acknowledgements. So while I was at the trade show, I did have the Jim's crew come up and see me. So a shout out to Jim's Pools. They're regular listeners of our podcast, and that was actually one of the topics that they raised. I said to them, what topics do you want us to talk about? And one of them said that exact thing. There are robotic cleaners are everywhere. How do we tell the difference as to which ones we should be buying and which ones we shouldn't? What's the point of difference?
For our overseas listeners, Jim's Pool Care is a major franchise group for pool care, and they've also got Jim's Mowing for lawns and Jim's
Tag and test and
electrical testing, and
they've got so many different divisions.
As well over here.
Yes. Yep. They do house cleaning, carpet cleaning. I think they do everything. So there's a Jim's
hair and nails. I don't know.
Jim's franchise for just about everything. So they're definitely getting around. So shout out to the Jim's crew. And actually, I did have a funny incident on the last day. So as I was walking back to my hotel, and I was talking to a pool builder that I've known for many years and congratulating him on some awards that he'd won the night before. That's Brian from Leader Pools in Canberra. But a guy actually stopped me and he said, "You're Lee from the podcast, aren't you?" And I went, yeah, and he said, I recognized your voice. So that was actually quite funny. So a shout out to Andrew. Andrew has a business called My Pool Butler, and he actually, again, this is going to be another great topic for the future. He actually remotely looks after pools. So I suppose with all the new technology available, with probes and automatic connection, Wi-Fi, all of those sort of things that are really coming into play big time in our industry. That's what he does. They do have obviously service techs that go out and correct the pools when they have an issue. But his business is called My Pool Butler, and so taking technology into pool servicing. So I think definitely something for a future conversation.
That could be quite an interesting one, I think.
Yeah. There's lots of new technology out there, and I suppose, do we take advantage of it, or do we think it's going to do us out of a job? There's a whole debate there.
Will always be homeowners stuffing around trying to be their own pool guy, as it were, who are going to screw things up. There will always be work for us.
Yeah.
The big risk for that is if we get massive drought and there's water shortages and they put in a ban on refilling pools or putting new pools in, which in Australia, very dry continent, is definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing is too, we all know from firsthand experience that machines aren't without their faults, without their shortcomings, and they do need to be backed up with actual on-site service. So it's not something that's going to do us completely out of a job, but maybe it could make us more efficient.
Maybe.
So we can talk about that again in a future topic. And as we always say to our listeners out there, if you've got something that you want us to discuss or you want to know more about, don't forget to send in your request, because we love them. We do. Obviously none of us are short of a conversation. But we do like to have your topics and know that what we're talking about is relevant to you and what you want to hear about. So hit us up. And
finding topics is that, and time zones are the two biggest challenges we face. I was at Fluidra buying some stuff earlier today, and I said to Sue's lovely, she's at the front counter there, and going very well with her. And I said, you've got to give me topics. What questions do people in the trade ask when they come in? And we're trying to think. I'm asking suppliers what stuff we can talk about. So very important thing.
Well, I suppose for the listeners out there that didn't get to Splash, or maybe did get to Splash but didn't get around to every stand, we tried to get around to a few of the stands, but everybody gets so busy. So we did go and talk to our friend Peter at Buffer Zone. It was nice to see him again. I've met Peter before, but Shane got to meet him in person. And so we did do a quick interview with him. So if Rudy feels so inclined, he might pop that in here. Then we also did go around and have a look at a few of the new products. So some unusual things that
do tell
that are fresh to the market. The product of the year, so most innovative product, got the national award for this year, was actually from Waterco. It was a commercial pool filter, and it's a silicon carbide, and I hope I got that right, silicon carbide filter, and designed, like, they're custom built for commercial facilities. They had actually installed one most recently in New Zealand, and I think my contact there did tell me that I think it was something like $1 million. It was either 1 million or 1.5 million. So a very expensive installation. The silicon carbide filter elements are replaceable. So it was, I think where the market is going is because of DE powder and the carcinogenic reports of that and the concerns with the commercial aquatic facilities that they're looking for alternatives, and it takes up a smaller footprint.
G'day everybody, we're at the AFM stand. So this is leading on from our previous podcast where we've been discussing filter media, pros and cons. This stand, AFM, two different products. We have the standard, excuse me, we have the standard which can go down to 4 micron, and the NG, which is the new generation, which can go down to a 0.1 micron. And here with me we have Julian to talk more about the product itself and how fantastic they are. G'day Julian.
Great to have you. Yeah, good. Thanks very much. Well, yeah, to give you a bit of an idea on AFM, activated filter media, originally started through a marine biologist called Dr. Howard Dryden, and it was originally designed because he was seeing that captive indoor mammals such as dolphins, seals, pinnipeds, those sort of things had a shortened life in a indoor chlorinated system because of trihalomethane. So it was actually degrading the lining of their lungs.
Right.
So he was looking at how can we get to better air quality, and he'd worked it back to see that trihalomethanes are produced when chlorine and urea pass over a biofilm. And the only place, or the biofilm has to form on a flat surface or on a surface, and the largest surface area of any swimming pool system is in the filter media. Mm-hmm. So you actually lay out all of those small grains of sand or glass or whatever it might be. It's a huge surface area.
Yes.
So working backwards, they needed to make sure that they could design a self-sterilising media that wouldn't grow biofilm, that would never channel, that would never foul, that wouldn't produce a chloramine, hence a dichloramine and then a trichloramine. So it was really indoor air quality was the big thing, and they'd worked back to make a self-sterilising media for air quality.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So it's it's very, very highly engineered for the swimming pool industry, but it's working so well. It's NSF certified for swimming pools, and it's also NSF certified for drinking water.
Right.
We use it in pools, aquariums, aquaculture, water treatment, sewage plants, you name it. So yeah, it's really started to take off. Mm-hmm. And as you said, there are two different grades. There's an AFM standard. It is only green and brown glass that is colour sorted to make sure that we can use a glass media with green and brown glass, which has a metal oxide in it. So from there's a 3-stage chemical treatment process and then a heat treatment process. So that's how we get down to be able to activate the brown and green glass, because I've got a metal oxide inside it.
Right, okay,
That then gives AFM standard positive charge. It's certified by the IFTS that 95% of the filter bed will filter at 4 micron, which is fantastic.
Yes.
You cannot cut you. I mean, you can see that it's really great for installers, because you can see there, it cannot touch your hands. It's very safe. It doesn't matter if some of it accidentally gets blown back into the pool.
Yes.
So we're filtering at 4 micron.
And it's also been cleaned as well, isn't it? So
cleaned and sterilised. So there's less than 50 grams per tonne of organics. So very, very clean, washed and sterilised. So that's a really big thing as well.
It is, from my point of view, where I do a lot of media changes or filter installations, and using, say, the Eco Glass or the other recycled glass on the market, where you were to pour that back into the filter, you would get this a plume of dust.
That's it.
And that's dangerous as well.
And if you're looking at the grade 1, which is the finest, you can see how clean that is.
Yes.
So that's been a really big thing for a lot of, as you said, a lot of our techs in the industry. Last thing you want is to get a lung full of silica dust. So that is very, very clean. Yeah, you don't get that cloud of dust that comes in.
Yes.
So yeah, these two, grade 2 sits on top of grade 1 in a domestic filter of about 34 inch or below. It's a straight 50-50 grading, and there's also a larger grade 3 for commercial applications, because we're doing everything from swim schools to water parks to theme parks to you name it. So we need to be able to span domestic and commercial as well. Good thing is the lifetime of it as well, because when they heat treat it, it starts to explode. So if you think about a corn kernel, and you've got X amount of surface area.
Yes.
Then you heat, or you put that in hot oil, and that starts to explode. That's what happens when they're treating this at 1200 degrees. And you can see the flames that were running behind you there on the TV.
Right, okay.
So because that now has 200 times the surface area of sand, hydraulically it captures a lot more particulate out of the water.
Yep.
Then combined with a positive charge, that also then grabs a lot of other negatively charged
it's a double
particulate.
whammy.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So they've made a pretty magic product.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And again, there can't be too many other filter medias on the market which are designed by a doctor.
There may not be. Look, everyone's got their own section of the market, which is fine. We sort of look at it and said, okay, there's a good, better, best. And we certainly wanted to make sure that, Dryden Aqua, they represent the best. And that's reflective of, the other brands that Biolab sells as well. And it is a perfect fit, which is good. It outlasts all other media because we've actually got that in field. It's been out there for 37 years.
Yeah, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, so if people are looking to replace that media, within a few years, you're certainly welcome to. Great selling point is if it can last the life of the tank. So maybe the actual filter tank may only last a few years.
Yes.
And that might be replaced and the media can go with it.
Right, okay.
Reducing a sanitation usage by around 35%, because you're not having to sanitize the media, because that is self-sterilising itself.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, your oxidant demand drops, your sanitation demand drops, your water clarity increases, the air quality increases, and the great thing is as well, filter's like a bin. Everything you catch in there, you got to get out.
Yeah.
And because it doesn't clump or channel, you can then fluidize that bed at a pretty low velocity.
Right.
So you need to fluidize all of that for all of that dirt and debris and junk and oils that you've captured to then get ejected from the filter, and then we're back with a fresh bed.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm sold. I've actually sold quite a few of these bags of media, just standard. I haven't been too familiar in regards to the NG, but just everything that you mentioned, it's just a fantastic product.
Yeah. So the AFM standard, the best use is 4 micron at 95% of the filter bed. Fantastic at catching metals that are out of solution, that could cause damage and staining.
Yes.
So any metals that are in solution, ionizers, copper from algicides, won't trap that, and that'll keep going through the system. So that's all good.
Right.
But copper, iron, manganese, etc., that's fallen out of solution, we'll be able to grab that, and then we can eject that out of the system. So that's great.
Yeah.
Whereas then we move to AFM NG, next generation. That's certified at 96% of the filter bed at 1 micron, and that's your neutral charge. And that neutral charge can then capture microplastics and smaller debris, and that's how the NFS, the IFTS reports, independently tested, have come back that that's 96% of the filter bed will filter at 1 micron. So you can imagine the clarity of water that you're getting is quite good.
Yes.
Very multifunctional product, but we're happy to have it, and but it's also great from an environmental point of view. Less backwashing, less chemistry, lasts longer.
Yes.
So we need to do the right thing, and yes, and even if for whatever reason the pool or the system is decommissioned, that can go straight back into the recycling loop.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So that can go back. Manufactured in Scotland and in Sweden, and over there, if there is any systems that are decommissioned, they'll actually take it back. And put that straight back into the recycling loop and make it again.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're not mining sand.
Yes.
As I said, everyone's got their own position in the industry.
Yes.
But this is great to use a product that is, again, as you said, recycled, better for the environment, less water usage, lasts a lot longer, and less use of other chemistry.
Yep. Well, there you have it, people. If you want to do your part for the environment, this is your filter media.
So at Splash, we all love to see new products, and one of the new products that are available in the chemistry and chemical side of our industry is a phosphate tablet. So we're used to lithium chloride being a liquid. Phosphate removers always have come in a liquid form, but now actually available in a handy little tablet. And I've got Jean Lawless here to tell me all about, or tell us all about this great product. Hey Jean.
Hello Lee.
Tell me all about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So BioGuard Zero Phos tabs are one of the newest products that we've launched in the last 9 months or so. And as Zero Phos tabs say on the tin, as you mentioned, it's a phosphate remover built into a clarifying tablet. So the beauty of them is that they are all filter friendly, they are all sanitizer type friendly, big pools, small pools.
So they're not going to clog the filter like traditional lanthanum carbonate can?
Absolutely not. So they are cartridge filter friendly, tried and tested. So they're not aluminium based or anything flocculant based like that. They are coagulant based, so they will filter it out rather than settling it to the floor of the pool.
Okay, fantastic.
And from a dosage rate point of view, one tablet will do up to 0.5 parts per million of phosphates in a 50,000 litre pool.
Wow.
So they are a concentrated little tablet.
Okay, so if you have a customer come in, has that 0.5 level,
Yes.
a 50,000 litre, one tablet will make
absolutely,
an improvement.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Great as a maintenance product to help keep a phosphate level down in a notoriously phosphate heavy pool. The other place we found them very, very handy is in the ever-growing market of small pools, 15,000, 20,000 litre pools, where you might do a phosphate test and the recommendation is for 150 mils of phosphate remover. And that store or that service technician can make the decision, instead of having to sell a whole litre of phosphate remover for the sake of 150 mils, a handy BioGuard Zero Phos tab is the easy substitute.
And look, let's face it, in service vehicles, so much better in space.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, absolutely fantastic. And you have to backwash them out, I would imagine?
Yeah, so as most clarifiers and that sort of thing, you keep an eye on your filter pressure. The higher the phosphate level is, the quicker it reacts and bonds to something and wants to remove it. So if you are in a phosphate heavy environment and the BioGuard Zero Phos tab wants to do its job straight away, you will see an increase in filter pressure and you'll have to clean your filter sooner rather than later.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for the
Thank you very
insight.
much,
So there you go, guys. Phosphate remover in a tablet form. So one of the new innovative products that are out on the market is actually a retrofit swim jet, and it's available from Remco, and they're going to tell us a bit about it.
So this is our retrofit swim jet. It comes in 4 different sizes or cubic meters. So the 160 cubic meter, a 275 cubic meter, and they're our single turbines. Or we do a dual turbine, which is 320 cubic meters or 550 cubic meters. It runs off a 12 volt power supply, which sits underneath the coping tile and can be mounted either on the coping tile or underneath it. The 12 volt cable, if there's 10 meters of cable, it runs back to our control panel, which the control panel will then plug into a standard 10 amp 240 volt power point.
Right.
The 160 cubic meter swim jet will push out 2,667 litres per minute, and the 275 will do 4,583 litres per minute. So it's very, very strong.
Wow, and you guys just won an award for this product.
We did, yes. Yeah. So we just won an award for the retrofit model of our swim jet. We also do integrated versions of our swim jet, which can be built into a concrete cavity, or we have a polypropylene housing as well that we can do our swim jets in.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
This is the new commercial pool filtration system from Waterco. It is a silicon carbide filtration, and they just won the Award of Excellence last night of Product of the Year. So a fantastic new product. And if you want tiles, we've got tiles galore. Pool controls, swim spas. You can even walk inside a pool. That's out on the market for commercial pools with all the accolades to prove it. Say hello, Focus Crew.
He's watching YouTube Kids, so I don't know if he's going to...
Loads to see and do
That's
at
right,
the Splash
right.
Trade Show. We've got software systems, we've got blankets and liners and rollers, heating, solar, heat pumps. And it just keeps on going and going and going and going and going.
Well, I suppose for the listeners out there that didn't get to Splash, or maybe did get to Splash but didn't get around to every stand, we tried to get around to a few of the stands, but everybody gets so busy. So we did go and talk to our friend Peter at Buffer Zone.
Yep.
It was nice to see him again. I've met Peter before, but Shane got to meet him in person. And so we did do a quick interview with him. So if Rudy feels so inclined, he might pop that.
Hey, hello again, everybody. We're here at Buffer Zone stand, here with Peter Legetz, our sponsor of Mondays Down Under Talking Pools podcast. Peter, how you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you
It's the
too,
first
Shane.
time we personally
Face to
met.
face. Yeah, it's good to meet you.
This is the first time I've been at Splash myself, and it's fantastic.
It's
Brought a
impressive,
little
isn't
bit
it?
of baggage with me this time around, but it's been worth it. How are you finding it, Peter?
It's great. I've been coming to these now for a few years, and I feel like this is the biggest and busiest I've seen it. So
Yes.
it's really good. They've pushed further down the hall and stuff outside, which I hadn't seen before. So it's been really good, really energising to see the buzz in the industry at the moment.
Yeah, and it's getting busier and busier.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah,
definitely. And
yeah.
considering the economy is generally not that good, it's great to see so many people out and about.
Yes.
It's really good.
Yeah. No, I think it's a fantastic atmosphere. We arrived yesterday, so there was only a couple more hours left. Still a
Yeah.
bit to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've started using Buffer Zone ourselves for our company. We've been using that now for about 2 months.
Yeah, about 2 months. Yeah.
We're finding the software fantastic. It's got everything that we need. And help is always on hand as well, Peter. So I really appreciate that.
No, it's great to have you on board. Yeah, really good. So, yeah.
Have you had many people coming in inquiring about it?
It's been great actually. It's a lot of new interest and also on top of that, like existing customers coming through, and while we're talking to them, we're talking about new partnerships we have and new features that they might not know about and all that sort of stuff. So it's been a really positive, really good show for us. The first time we've had a booth to ourselves. We've often been here with other distributors and all that sort of stuff. So it's been really positive feedback and lots of people coming through. So really happy that we came and took the time. Good to have the team come up here, as I was saying to Lee before. Some of them, because we work on computers, I haven't even met some of them face to face, and they've worked for me for years now. So it's really nice to get everyone together and to be able to spend some time with them and have dinner and a bit of a laugh as well. So the social aspect is just as important as the business side here and this sort of thing. So it's been really
Fantastic.
good.
No, really good.
Cool.
So if anybody is looking at a new software platform for their business, Buffer Zone.
Buffer Zone's the way to go.
In here. Then we also did go around and have a look at a few of the new products. So some unusual things that
Do tell.
that are fresh to the market. The product of the year, so most innovative product, got the national award for this year, was actually from Waterco. It was a commercial pool filter, and it's a silicon carbide, and I hope I got that right. Silicon carbide filter, and designed, like they're custom built for commercial facilities. They had actually installed one most recently in New Zealand, and I think my contact there did tell me that I think it was something like $1 million. It was either 1 million or 1.5 million. So a very expensive installation. The silicon carbide filter elements are replaceable. So it was, I think where the market is going is because of DE powder and the carcinogenic reports of that, and the concerns with the commercial aquatic facilities that they're looking for alternatives, and it takes up a smaller footprint. So yeah, the cartridges are replaceable, which makes the filters quite serviceable. I'm sure they're not cheap though. But obviously,
$1 million filter, no.
But the big advantage here is that, and where I think this product has really come into the market, is actually the fact that DE is seen as a carcinogenic product, and so a lot of the commercial aquatic facilities are wanting to take that risk away from their staff handling a product. There's obviously that risk involved, and everybody's about risk mitigation. And so DE, while obviously gives superior filtration, this is an alternative, and apparently the filtration is fantastic in it, even better than DE. So now obviously that may be a claim or not, we don't know, but obviously too, the other alternative to for filters is sand filters, media filters, and they have such a big footprint. They're huge, these big media filters for the aquatic facilities, so they take up a huge amount of plant room space. This new filter takes up, while it is still a sizable unit, it takes up a much smaller footprint, and they're all custom made to the size of the aquatic facility that it's being fitted to. So yeah, so if people want to check that out, that's Waterco Australia, and it's a silicon carbide filter. But yeah, it won product of the year, so which was great to see. Another product that really stood out to me was Remco. Now Remco over here in Australia, and I don't know if they're in the US, but Remco are cover manufacturers. So they do they actually do some safety covers, they do retractable covers, automatic covers, lots of different covers. They have some great products, but they've actually bought out a retrofit swim jet. Now we all know swim jets are usually something that's installed when a pool's built. So actually being able to get that velocity of water flow that gives you that swim jet experience is not easy. So this is quite a big unit, but able to be retrofitted to a pool. And I do have a video on that too, if Rudy wants to put that on the Talking Pools page. What about you, Shane? What did you see that you liked?
There was one of the stands that we did actually get to and had a good chat with somebody was inspections. So they do they've designed an app for barrier inspections, pre-purchase inspections. There was another one. So sorry, Peter, with your home inspections, you do it's a little bit different in New Zealand, but you do a pre-purchase and you do a
safety inspection
for the seller as well.
Oh,
I do inspections for the seller before the house goes on the market. So
yes,
they can fix it first or remove the faulty thing if possible and so forth. But the
right,
majority
okay,
are
yeah.
pre-settlement before the house, after the contract.
Pre-settlement, that's the one. Yeah,
Over.
pre-settlement.
But I don't do safety barriers. I will comment on them in my report, but I always handball that straight back to the council. And whenever anyone books an inspection, I say you have to get council out, because they're the ones with the authority to issue a what do they call a work order? Not a work order, a rectification.
Certificate. I was going to say certificate of compliance or a complying order. I think we call them over in the eastern states. Order to comply. Order to comply,
something like that. But yeah, the inspections, I look at the pool, see if there's any obvious problems with the shell, go through all of the equipment, and that's fine-tooth comb stuff.
So yeah, these guys have designed an app for that, and they were showing it on the screen. It actually looked really good, really detailed. We were talking to them about leak detection. We specialize in leak detection. They're like, yep, we can basically design an app for that if you want to. So they were a company that had they had a few systems in place already, you know, with the safety barriers, the pre-purchase and home inspections, but they were willing to actually design apps for whatever purpose you wanted it for. So we had a good chat with a couple of the guys there, and that was really good. So we got some pretty good information back, which reminds me I've still got to get a hold of them since coming back. This week's been a little bit full on, as you can imagine. First week back, yeah. So yeah, that was one that really stood out. Obviously meeting Peter as well, not yourself, Peter, obviously, but Peter at Buffer Zone, meeting Brett as well is you know, one of his work colleagues there was really good. It was nice to have a proper meet and greet, and just seeing some of my suppliers from New Zealand as well, and just bumping into them. I was quite nice. Oh, you made it! Oh, you made it! Yeah, it was quite nice as well.
Yeah, actually, I was
going to say as much as what I wanted to see, unfortunately.
Michelle from Sparza, Sparza, New Zealand, said to me, "How do you know Shane?" And I said, "I'm on a podcast with him." And she said, He's got a podcast? And I said, yeah. So shout out to Michelle. Hopefully she's now listening.
Yeah, she's amazing, Michelle. She's awesome. Yeah, big shout out.
She's lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always great to meet the people behind the phone, like when you're especially a remote client as I was. Yes, I get to meet my reps and that sort of thing, but getting to meet the other people and catching up with industry friends and knowing that you're not going this alone. I always say to people, I think it's really valuable to take your staff to these. I tried to take a member of staff, at least one member of staff every time that we went. And so it was opening their eyes to how big our industry is. It really is a very big industry, very diverse. As crazy as that might sound, I was actually, when I spoke at the aquatics, the New South Wales Managers Conference few months ago now, but there was 4 of us on stage, and all of us were from within the industry, but and combined we had nearly 100 years of experience, but all of us were from very different areas of the industry. And we'd all been in it for the long haul. So even though, different branches, one was an international distributor, one specialized in aquatic facility management, another one dealt with redoing of plant rooms and dealing with councils to get funding and all of that sort of thing. And then myself was in service. So it was like we had very different positions in the industry, but yet, quite diverse and very long lasting and very rewarding. And I think often with our staff is they get caught up in, they only know their little patch, they only know their little business, and they don't think their job's very important. But when they actually walk into a room that is that big, with that many people and that many products, it actually is a real eye-opener as to how big our industry is and how underrated it is. We've talked about that before.
We have.
So no, it's good. We did have a chat with Julian from BioLab. They had a couple of new products out, so we've got a couple of videos on their new products. That was quite interesting. And I think there's a couple of companies that do them, but theirs was called a zero phos tablet. It's actually lanthanum chloride. Yeah, lanthanum carbonate is the liquid form. This is lanthanum chloride. It's a tablet form. It's only a small tablet, very similar, I suppose, to they look and feel, I suppose, very similar to the alum sulfate tablets that we use as clarifiers, but these are, lanthanum chloride, and they remove 0.5 parts of phosphates in a 50,000 litre pool with one small tablet. So great ongoing maintenance thing. But how I came across them is I actually have a industry friend who's in Sydney, deals with a lot of very large aquatic facilities, and was really struggling with the phosphates in those pools. And because they're DE filters, the lanthanum chloride causes the lanthanum carbonate, the liquid form, causes all sorts of problems with them, using that to reduce the phosphates in the pool, and he's had huge success with these tablets. So I was glad to hear some more about that. They had a very interesting product, liquid stabilizer, that has no cyanuric acid in it, added on a weekly basis. Probably end up making me ask more questions afterwards than I asked in my short interview with Julian, the national sales manager. But it is a product that's added on a regular basis and helps protect chlorine from UV light, but doesn't add cyanuric acid to the water.
Yeah, I've got questions too.
Yeah, so I think we might do some investigating on that one and come around and make that a possible future subject. Yep. And then they've got a new glass product, which I was quite interested in. So I know Shane.
Glass media or?
Yeah, new glass media. It's called NG, and it's something different about the charge. And I'm sorry, I'm being so vague here, but it's it's actually charged internally, not externally. So apparently the charge on the glass is usually like an external charge, whereas this is actually an internal charge that is created from it being heated up, and it splits and then it actually closes again and the charge actually stays inside. So it's always charged. But again,
that as well.
Yeah, so we might again, a future episode. And that was one thing that really interested me, because we had been talking on these podcasts, we had been talking about glass media or different filter medias and doing media changes. And this was one of the products that, sparked my interest, because I asked the question of, well, I had heard that dirt is naturally negatively charged, and I'd heard glass is naturally negatively charged. So two negatives, do they repel each other? So don't know if I got an answer to that question, but but apparently it is extremely superior filter media. I've talked to a few people since that actually use it, and they said, look, sometimes products come out that you go, oh yeah, like they claim to be really good, but the people that I've actually spoken to that have actually used this product, because it is very expensive, but they said they definitely noticed a big difference. So remains to be seen. We will discuss that in future.
And of course, we're willing to test samples.
Yeah, we are. And take sponsorships. Hey, BioLab.
Yes. be nice.
Uh,
Yeah. So you had a good trip. Of
I was exhausted,
course you were.
absolutely shattered. I hit a
Yeah, you
wall on
were working a
Friday.
lot. You were working a lot. I think
I
you
was.
starting what 7 and starting at about 7 and finishing about 8.
It was actually later than 8. It was, we were finishing, well, most nights I was finishing about 10. So I had to be
Right.
on site at 7, ready for training. So for the first day that I was there, so this was pre-splash opening, I was involved with training with one of the national franchise groups. So working with them, running hydraulics training. And then the next morning I had to be there at before 7 and ready for the breakfast to help facilitate the breakfast. And then also the training, we had training running simultaneously for half-day sessions. So I was in training for that half a day and running around doing things while facilitating the training as well. And then lunchtime I'd come out, grab a bite to eat, say hello to my husband, say hello to Shane, go to the stand, and then running around again. And then we had events. So that night we had the welcome drinks. I had 45 minutes in which to get home, get changed, and get back again for the awards night.
So women can do it.
and then
when they have to, they actually can.
And then get back. I think we finished at 10 o'clock that night, and then back again at 7 o'clock in the morning, half day training, running around like a blue ass fly on Thursday afternoon, pull down the stand on Thursday afternoon, leave, go home, have a shower, get changed, and come back for the after party. So I do have to say that at 9:30 I did actually sneak out of the after party, and I actually had learned by this stage that everywhere I went I took 2 pairs of shoes. One that I knew I was going to be really comfortable in case my other pair got sore. But no, look, it was a huge couple of days, well worth every second. Would do it all over again. Sad to know that it's only another 2 years until the next one. But yeah, on Friday, I have to tell everybody, I hit a wall on Friday morning, got up, had a shower, because my husband came and spent the night on the Thursday night because I was staying in an apartment and he was staying back in our caravan. And so Friday morning got up and I was just so exhausted. I had a shower, washed my hair, got dressed, went through the motions. It was about 11:30 in the morning and I was running my hands through my hair and I went, shit, I'd forgotten to wash the conditioner out of my hair. So, like, for me, because I've got naturally curly hair, I don't dry my hair. I let it dry naturally. So it's not unusual for me to have wet hair. Like, that's how I live my life first thing every morning. And so it didn't bother me my hair was wet, and I didn't think anything of it until I ran my hands through my hair at 11:30 as my hair was starting to dry. And I went, shit, I forgot to wash the conditioner out of my hair. I was so tired. So yeah. I think it took me a good 3 days, I think, to actually get over the exhaustion. So yeah, got there in the end.
Not worth it.
Yeah. But the most important question about your trip over there, did you manage to sneak in a meal at Maggie Choo's?
No.
You missed out.
No, we didn't, did we, Shane?
Sorry.
And look, Pete, if you had have been here, as much as I would have said I would have loved to have been there, I don't know that I would have been able to find the time.
Yeah,
it was crazy. But we will make a date for 2 years' time. We'll all be there again.
Yes.
And we will go to Maggie Choo's.
Absolutely.
So, but the one thing we haven't talked about is the weather. And we always usually start our podcast with the weather. And I have to tell you, it's August. Now, for our Northern Hemisphere people, August is obviously the last month of our winter, but you wouldn't know it because I'm sitting in 31-degree heat.
That's 88 Fahrenheit. That is not normal for this time of year.
No, it's most certainly not. And yes, I have come down a bit further on the coast, but it's still hot. Brisbane's supposed to be 32 today. Out the back of in Western Queensland, so the western corner of Queensland, it's supposed to be 42. And yeah, it is just crazy. Yeah.
So it's about 108 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, and it's winter.
Imagine what
it's winter.
What their summer's going to be like.
Yeah, so they're definitely like we've always found that we've had that pre-season heat, but I think we all thought that happened a couple of weeks ago, a week or two ago. It got quite warm, and we thought, oh yeah, we're having that normal false start to summer. Makes everybody start to think. Even actually, I know my friends in Victoria, one of my clients in Victoria was saying they actually had quite a warm week, and he'd noticed a increase in interest in getting their pool services started. And so yeah, I don't think it's quite that warm in Victoria, but certainly New South Wales and Queensland, yeah, it's certainly summer weather. So people out there, start running.
Well, with us, it's still fairly cool here. It's cooler than I like it, but my wife thinks it's wonderful. It's 19 degrees in Perth today, about 66 Fahrenheit.
Yeah. And that's normal. That's normal for this time of the year.
Late winter, about to head into autumn, into spring. Sorry, I'm going the wrong way around. But this season this season and last season both started early. Our season normally picks up around mid-September. Last year and this year, it really started gaining traction mid-July. Next week, this week that you're listening to this podcast, we're recording it last week for you now, if that's confusing enough. I've got the full team basically doing equipment replacements, finishing off a couple of nasty green pools. One of those I'll have to tell you about one day. Just a comedy of errors by the owner. But yeah, the amount of equipment we've got about to go in is crazy. So that's a good thing.
That's good.
Like doing equipment hard.
Oh, look, absolutely. And especially given the current economic situation, like there's a lot of talk about consumer spending decreasing and how that's going to affect our industry. But if the weather is like this, it makes people think of their pools. And they won't be, maybe consumer spending will be, they won't be going on a holiday, instead holidaying in their own backyard. So,
yeah. And that really picked up since COVID, where people would do, I heard economists refer to it as nesting. So they can't spend their money elsewhere, as you say, build up at home and make their own nest nice and comfortable. If only those damned interest rates would go down.
Yes,
free up a bit of the money that people free up more disposable income for people. But yeah, I'm quite surprised at the amount of equipment that I've sold over the last week or so, ready for installation.
So actually, this podcast will actually be going to air on Monday, which is the 2nd of September. So we're actually going to be in spring. And so people, it is time to make money. Winter has been come and gone quicker than we could think about. I hope you use that time productively. And now it's time to make money.
Yeah. And on the 1st of September in Australia anyway, is Father's Day. So
it is too. Happy Father's Day, Peter. Happy Father's Day, Shane.
Come to me for a robotic cleaner and a new chlorinator. And I think I'm just getting a cooked breakfast on Sunday morning and probably, I don't know, a pair of socks. So one of them can end up in that room of yours with the sock.
The pens. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that brings us to a close, doesn't it?
Pretty much does it, yes. You guys have a fantastic week. Everyone listening out there, have a fantastic week. And send in your topic requests. But get out there, stay safe, make lots of money. Uru.
See you guys.